So we'll start. And this morning we're going to do the meditation called the Metta Bhavana. And metta means something like friendliness, kindness, acceptance, supportive, something like that, friendship. And bhavana means to cultivate. So it's a meditation cultivating acceptance and kindness, loving kindness for other people. And we have this tendency as human beings to have views, don't we? Have views about everything, especially other people. And we're sort of in control of our world, and we really want other people to act in ways that we want them to act. And that includes ourselves, really. We have this idea of how things should be. And so we have this tendency to expect things to be like that. And if they're not, then we become critical. And this can create a lot of suffering for ourselves as well as other people. Well, mostly for ourselves, actually. When we have views and opinions, critical views and opinions, they are uncomfortable. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just accept the world as it is and accept people as they are? Wouldn't that be much easier than going through life and being critical and feeling upset about things? Well, I think it would be great if we could do that all the time. And maybe we can't, but maybe we can work towards it. So this meditation is about doing just that. It's about seeing how we feel about ourselves and other people, and coming to terms with the fact that that's just our mind. That's just our tendency to wanting to control things. It's our tendency to want everything to be fine. And it's based, I would imagine, quite a lot on fear. The fear of things not being safe for us. So in this meditation, all we're doing really is we're just noticing how we feel in each stage. We bring to mind ourselves in the first stage, see how we feel. We bring to mind a good friend and see how we feel about them. Probably fairly positive, not necessarily though. And then we bring together to mind a stranger, see what they bring in us or don't bring, maybe indifference or just nothing much. And then we bring to mind somebody we have difficulty with, and we probably feel the feelings that they create for us, or that we create in our minds when we imagine them. So those 4 stages are great because we can see what's going on in our world, in our inner world, and we can see that it is unhelpful, really, just unhelpful. But we can see that with kindness. We're not trying to change the way we react or the way we feel about people. We're just trying to notice that actually this is what happens. And just by seeing that, we begin to weaken it. And in the second half of each of these stages, we can then try and wish these people well, and try and be a bit more positive about whoever we're thinking of. And it's a powerful meditation. If you do this meditation regularly, it really has an effect on your world. And in the end, you are much happier because you're not creating this dissatisfaction in yourself. And also the world, strangely, is much kinder to you as well. So it has this radical effect on our lives and on the world. So I won't say any more. We'll just start the meditation. And just see if anybody's. Oh yes, we've got Geraldine, Anna, Julie, Julia, and Rachel. Wow, good to have you here. And a bit of a shout out as well to, I think, Zoe and Sarah, who aren't on Facebook but have tuned into the link. So it's good to have them here every morning. Okay, so we'll get on and meditate. And so if you'd like to get comfortable, as always, you can lie on the bed, lie on the floor, sit on a chair, sit on a cushion, whatever means of being comfortable. Good morning, Laura. Just enjoying being here this morning, being comfortable, settling down, and moving into the meditation. So we begin, as always, by just arriving, just quietly noticing how we are this morning. We might be feeling good. We might be feeling not so good. We might be achy or at ease. Our minds might be busy or calm. And wherever we are, that's absolutely fine. This is our starting point, and it's where we are. We can't be anywhere else. So just settling into our state of being at the moment with a sense of kindness and acceptance to that. Feeling the weight of our bodies pressing down on whatever we're sitting or lying on, and just allowing that bed or floor, chair, cushion to take our weight, to give up our weight to it. We can just let go. Noticing the breathing, and the movement of the chest, rising and falling, shoulders rising and falling, and just relaxing on each out breath, just letting go, and then on the next out breath, letting go again and again. Just relaxing the mind as much as you can, and relaxing the body as much as you can. If there are any aches and pains or stiffness or tightness, just having a sense of kindness towards it. This is the Metta Bhavana meditation, and we begin with ourselves. We begin with just a sense of how we are this morning. Human beings are very complex, and there's all sorts of bits of ourselves different kinds of ourselves. Bits that are patient and kind, bits that are a bit irritable and not so kind, angry bits, helpful bits, all different kind of aspects. And all these facets of ourselves, of our being, come from our past. They come from our conditioning. And really we can't do anything about them. If we have a particular habit, it's something that's happened, been formed in us in the past. So we are going to react, in our minds at least. We are going to become upset or angry or irritable or have views about ourselves and other people. There's nothing we can do about this, and this is not our fault. It goes right back to our early childhood, perhaps. Perhaps it's more recent than that. In Buddhist terms, it could come from past lives. So we will do things that we'd rather not do. We will have views that we'd rather not have. So we need to be kind to this tendency. We need to treat it with love and care and have a sense of real acceptance of it. But only acceptance in the sense that these are old habits. We can notice these old habits, these reactions, and we can be kind to them, but we don't have to act on them. So as we go through life, we can just notice when we react negatively, when we cause ourselves pain with uncomfortable feelings. And if we can have a sense of kindness to that, then slowly, if we can have a sense of kindness to that and not react, not actually act on those reactions in speech or in bodily actions, if we can just feel the unpleasant feelings that arise and just stay with them without getting caught up in them, then we begin to become more comfortable. We begin to let them go. So we all know what our tendencies are, our unskillful negative tendencies. Can we just be kind to them and not let them dictate our lives, not let them dictate our actions? Just have a sense of kindness to our fragile, tender selves. Sometimes struggling with emotions and feelings and memories from the past. And then act with a sense of kindness to ourselves and other people. Can we wish ourselves well? Can we accept ourselves as we are? Can we be our own best friend, supporting ourselves as we go through life? In the second stage, we're going to bring to mind a good friend, someone that we really care about. And see them as an image in our imagination, or just a sense of them being here with us. Maybe remembering the way they laugh, or a particular lovely time we had with them. And what does that feel like? How do you feel when you bring this friend to mind? And is it pleasant or unpleasant? Probably a pleasant feeling. So how would it be if we could have this feeling towards everyone, towards all beings, whether we like them or not, whether they liked us or not? And just really appreciating this, our feelings for our good friend. And wishing them well in their lives. Wishing them good health and happiness and freedom from difficulties. We're going to let the good friend go now, and we're going to bring to mind a stranger of some kind. Somebody we see quite often, so we sort of know them, but we don't know much about them. Maybe a neighbour or a postie, somebody in a shop, someone we see fairly regularly. And when we bring them to mind as an image or just a sense of them, what does that feel like? What do we feel about this person? Do we feel anything? And sometimes we might not. So even if if we're a bit indifferent to them, even if they seem a bit like a two-dimensional person to us. Just first of all, acknowledging that. It's really important. Then reflecting that in many ways we do have a connection with them. In many ways they are just like us. They have joys and disappointments. They have good times and really hard times. Sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're not happy at all. They're just treading a similar path through life to ourselves, with all its joys and sorrows. And like us, they're growing older. Like us, one day they'll die. So can we wish this stranger well? This human being, just like ourselves. Can we have a wish for happiness in their lives, for good health, and for freedom from life's difficulties? I'm going to let the stranger go for a moment now. I'm going to bring into our meditation someone we have some difficulty with. Not a massive amount of difficulty, but somebody who we don't kind of like being around, or who we find a bit irritable or uncomfortable. Bring an image of them or a sense of them into our meditation. And how does that make us feel when we do this? Just noticing any unpleasant feelings, not judging them, just having a sense of love to them. When we react against other people, it feels painful. Our minds are telling us to act in certain ways, perhaps. That's unpleasant. But we don't have to act in the ways that our mind tells us. Our minds aren't always right. Our minds aren't always kind. So whether we find this person unpleasant, uncomfortable, irritating, whatever it is, we're not trying to change that. We're just trying to acknowledge it. But even so, can we act towards them with a sense of loving kindness, a sense of support for them in their lives, their sometimes difficult lives, sometimes joyful lives? Can we wish them well in spite of how we feel about them? Can we wish them good health, well-being and happiness, and freedom from some of the suffering that life brings. And in the final stage, bringing all four people together, ourselves, our good friend, the stranger, and the person we have difficulty with. Just bringing them all together, sitting around us, being with us in our imagination. And although we have different feelings towards each of them, not denying that, but having a sense of goodwill and acceptance to all of them, especially ourselves and the person we have difficulty with. Just opening our hearts with a sense of goodwill, wishing them well, wishing them good health, wishing all four good health, happiness and well-being, and freedom from the suffering of life, from the ups and downs that cause us so much pain. And then can we spread our goodwill further out to all the people who've been meditating here this morning. Fellow human beings, just like ourselves in many ways, wishing them well. Feeling a sense of connection with them. And extending even further to all the people in the UK, particularly in these difficult times. People in all sorts of situations, some quite pleasant, some quite unpleasant. And taking in the whole world in our hearts. 7 billion human beings, most of them affected by the present pandemic in some way or other. Can we have a sense of connection with all of them in all their different circumstances? The rich, the poor, the healthy, the sick, those who are dying and those who are being born. Billions of human beings, who we'll never know, but who in many ways are just like ourselves. Can we wish them well? And then extending our goodwill even further to all beings that breathe and feel pain. Animals, sea creatures, birds, insects, every living being, all of them striving to make the best of their lives, all of them having good times and difficult times. Can we have a real sense of well-being for them, a real wish for well-being for them, a real wish that their suffering should be alleviated, that they should enjoy their lives and be happy. From the smallest insect to the biggest mammal, wishing them all well. So I'm going to bring the meditation to a close now. And when I ring the bell, just taking your time, being gentle with yourself. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and moving your body. So that's a really radical kind of meditation, as I keep saying. It's an extremely important one. It's not the easiest meditation to do. It means facing up to our own attitudes to other people. But it really helps. It really helps us to be much kinder. And Amy asked, does that mean consciously choosing to make different choices than our brain initially tells us? And that's exactly it. We have an opportunity when we suddenly react to something adversely. We have an opportunity not to do what we normally do and to do something kinder and more helpful to ourselves and the other person. So that's a really great practice to do and to remember.